Benny Teuber. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you.
How have you found Gen Con today? Have you been able to look around?
It's wonderful. Yeah, I could take a short tour only, but I need to do a longer one later.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you told me this is your 10th Gen Con that you've been?
Yeah, I think my 10th, more or less. Yeah. And Catan has actually like still its space here, what I really love. But everything is growing, and there are so many fantastic games to explore. That's why I love coming back every year. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Actually, I planned a whole day just for look for new games because that was too short in the last years. So now I take a private day off to find out new games and not meet and stuff.
So, switching to Catan, if you could describe Catan in one sentence, how would you describe it?
Catan is a peaceful game about cooperation, and it brings the best and the worst out in people, and you kind of get to know, it's a long sentence, I know, but I'm still in, and you kind of get to know the people you play with very effectively, because a lot of the personality inside the person's surface, I think.
Okay, and you said it brings the best and the worst in people. How so?
I mean, I've experienced a lot of fights during games between people, so like it can be nasty at times. But then the good thing is you still kind of like cooperate, and you can't really destroy somebody, and then maybe sometimes it needs some sort of like fight. I think a lot of people can relate to games when you have like discussions during the game, and then you need to solve it. And Catan is actually a game about that. There are conflicts, and you need to solve them peacefully and verbally. And that happens during gameplay, and that happens in the story of the game. So that is something unique and important to me about Catan.
And how are you as a player when you're playing? Because I've heard like you guys are really competitive, and they always say you are the best between the four.
That's what they say.
Do you consider?
I mean, okay. Honestly, lately I don't win a lot of games because they always play against me. So
They do.
I think I need to level up my complaining a little bit more. I don't seem to be complaining effectively anymore.
So do you still find time to play a lot of Catan, or?
It's what we play a lot of new prototypes, so that's often Catan, and privately, yeah, sometimes here and there, but not too often that we really play for, you know, pure fun. Maybe at Christmas sometimes, but then to be honest, I also enjoy playing something else from time to time, so that's fine.
That's no problem.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me more about the history of you and the game, since you have been exposed to it since you were a little kid? So, how does it feel?
I think the first time I played was I was like 9, like some 25, 26 years ago. And I do remember that it was kind of a special prototype in comparison to the other prototypes that my dad brought to the table. And yeah, it was kind of like drawn into it from the beginning on, like collecting all these resources and like trading and like building something that stays on the board. That was something I do remember, and I grew up with like testing also the expansions. Then it's like the period of puberty when you're not really into gaming anymore, and then when you're a student, you're back to gaming. That's like my experience at least. And so yeah, I worked in different like branches before, and I studied psychology, and then realized that I don't want to become a psychotherapist. And then when I was in a consultancy, and then I was an intern in a video game company for a short time. Yeah, in Tokyo actually. And that was quite exciting because I don't speak any Japanese, of course. So
how did you manage?
I don't know, like if that was like the menu, I was like, okay, I'll eat this, and just pointed, and I was always surprised. So I made a lot of new experiences.
So, what made you want to come back to Catan GmbH and work with Catan and develop?
It's yeah, it's like I learned, I got to know the game. I got to know the game so early in my childhood that I really like it was accompanying all my youth in a way. And I always liked what it is. I always liked the values that it expresses. And yeah, like after working in some companies, like also in a consultancy for a short time, and another company, I was like, oh, actually, I'd like to sell something or to do something to market something that I really am convinced of. And I am convinced of the values that Catan expresses and contains. There's a lot of good stuff, I think, in the game, and you can learn a lot by playing it.
You can, yes.
Yeah.
That's so true. So, what is your current position in the company?
With my dad and Klaus and Guido, my brother, and me, we are all managing directors.
Okay.
And we're like separating our business. Like, so Klaus does 100% of development, Guido does 100% of the managing of the license, and I'm like a libero with currently like maybe 70% managing of the license and 30% developing new games with Klaus.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about your day today?
It's a great day today because I never really know what I do. Like sometimes I know, oh, there's like a project that needs a lot of taking care, like approvals, or like maybe writing a rule or like checking a rule. That's a longer term that it follows. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I have this great idea when I go running or something, and then I sit down and write it down and kind of like sink into that. So it's always different. Very surprising that I like very much.
What do you think has been your biggest challenge in all of this time working with Catan?
Well, okay, we're currently working on a game which is since 4 years in progress. Can't say much about it. Yeah, actually, maybe you haven't even heard about it. But like, it is really a challenge, and we never really get to the point where like it's a good game. So like very often we like tossed everything in the trash and started completely new.
Wow.
And that's like the third time already, and we're kind of like, will we ever be able to manage? And maybe not, but currently it looks good. So it's like, I think the third time that we are like, it's kind of good. So maybe you get to test play soon.
Oh, that would be awesome. When do you think they will get to at least know about it?
I won't make any promise here because it's like uncalculatable. I don't know.
So, in reverse, like, what would you think will be your proudest moment working for the company?
My proudest?
Mm-hmm. Or your proudest project, or something you really.
Oh, actually, that's easy. It's when we organized the big game in the game fair in Essen in 2015.
Okay.
That started about a year ago when we sat at dinner and had maybe one wine more than normal. We're like, that'd be awesome to have 1,000 people playing Catan at the same time.
Okay.
And that night I was convinced that's gonna work. Next day I was like, I don't know, maybe. Okay. And then a year later it actually it worked, and we had 1,040 people playing one huge game of Catan in a huge hall, and actually standing there and like asking the people to do a La Ola wave. That was amazing. That was really great.
Where was this?
I was in Essen, in Germany, the game fair.
How long or how big of a hall did you guys get? Because 1,040.
That was actually almost all the space was taken with long like beer benches, you know, like.
Okay.
It was a huge hall. It was a huge hall. Yeah.
It's amazing. Wow. Yeah. Did you get to participate in that?
No, I had to moderate. And the funny thing is, I didn't know that before. And like 15 minutes before we started, my colleague was like, "So Benny, why don't you say the people to visit the restroom for the last time?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll do that." So I was like, and then 1,000 people look at you, and I was kind of like overwhelmed. I was like, "What?" And then it felt natural. And then because you knew what you had to do, that was good. Good experience, and we kind of like set the numbers, and so I couldn't play, but Klaus played.
Oh, Klaus played? Okay.
Yeah.
Did Guido play, or?
Guido wasn't in Germany that year on the fair. Yeah.
So you were saying that idea came from a dinner? You guys were having dinner and just pop out and you...
But we had the big game before, but like smaller, and then we said like to the 2015 year celebration, 20 years of Catan.
Okay.
Why not actually... You know, it's a game that's 20 years old, so why not play it again? And that's a new mechanic, a new style, and we're like, that could be a cool action. Yeah. It's like a cool event for like that celebration.
Yeah. So, talk talking about that, what do you see in the future? What can we expect?
So next year we have 25 years of Catan celebration. So it won't be just a big game, but maybe it has to do with a big game. We have some other marketing ideas. We have some other product ideas. I can't tell you too much right now.
Okay.
But there is a lot of stuff coming.
Okay. But then this is also releasing next year, am I correct?
This is releasing this year.
This is releasing this year?
This is releasing this year.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about Starfarers?
So this is the 20 years of Starfarers.
Oh yeah, 1999, correct?
Yeah, exactly, 1999. And so it's 2019 now, and well, we had some complaints. The biggest for sure is the motherships. That they broke when you kind of try to put in the gas tank.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
the
the boost. And now I always told marketing, why don't we put that on the box like now with motherships that don't break? I'm like, yeah, of course. Okay.
Are we putting it on the box?
No, of course not. No, of course. So these don't break right now.
Okay.
We kind of like
they don't break.
I can let it fall here. And,
You can have it.
Very good. But like so real changes are we have a variable setup. So before it was all printed on the board, and now we have like these variable planet systems.
Okay.
And you can have a random like explorer kind of like setup and explore the universe by yourself, including the number tokens, where you still have like pirate encounters and ice planets and stuff. Or you can have a strategic setup where you put it all out in the open before and kind of like figure out your favorite setup and then start playing. So that's like the biggest change, I would say, in terms of like gameplay. And there is some smaller changes, like in terms of the encounter cards, minimum changes. You get a little bit longer supply cards of Earth at the beginning of the game, so it's a little bit faster.
Okay.
We also changed like adding one more ball in here. The yellow one is 2 now, so
Okay.
like you're a little less encounters, but you fly a little bit further.
Yes.
And faster. So like a lot of small subtle changes. Yeah.
It looks amazing, and you are.
I'm really happy how it turned out. It's like
Yes.
I really am happy.
And people here at Gen Con, as you have seen, are all over coming and watching, trying to
you.
take a
Yeah.
peek at this great game. So, thank you so much for this interview. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Thanks.